The Ultimate Husband. By Sky Kissing Wolf.
Episode 131. She saw Daryl start to undress and lay on the couch. You. Megan glared at him but ended up just leaving him to his own devices since he was going to sleep on the couch. Meanwhile, Daryl took out his phone while lying down. There was reason behind him sleeping there. It was already quite late. If he were to return home now, Lily would not be able to sleep well again. Besides, he would have also disturbed Samantha, who would later grumble at him. Not long after, Megan walked out and pointed toward the couch. "You shall sleep here tonight. Behave yourself and don't go walking around." After braving herself to say that, Megan quickly walked into her bedroom. Soon, she was holding her clothes and walking towards the bathroom. She hesitated when she was about to close the door and gave Daryl a glare. Without waiting for her to speak, Daryl smiled and said, "Don't worry, I won't peep." Megan's face turned red with her heart racing as she quickly closed the door. The sound of water splashing emerged shortly from the bathroom. Her house had been renovated following the European design such that her bathroom doors were made from frosted glass. Despite not being able to see what was going on inside, Daryl could still make out a faded body shadow of Megan from where he was. Water continued flowing in the bathroom and Daryl could clearly see each of Megan's movements. Gulp. Under his wild imagination, Daryl swallowed a gulp of his own saliva. He had never imagined he would be able to enjoy such privileges, and sighed before his cell phone suddenly vibrated. It was Yvonne's message again. Daryl was stunned when he checked his cell phone. There were about 70 to 80 messages from Yvonne. There was almost a message every 30 minutes from the evening till now. The messages were rather similar, such as, "Are you there, Daryl? What are you doing?" and etc. "She's desperately looking for me. Could it be an emergency?" Daryl mumbled and gave her a call. At that time, the Youngs' residence. Yvonne was in her pajamas when the phone rang. Her heart started racing while flashes of excitement could be seen on her face. She finally heard from him after seeking him out for so long. There was actually no such emergency. She had always been thinking about Daryl ever since her father's misunderstanding. Yvonne felt so shy as she recalled that incident. She just wanted to speak with him today but felt rather excited instead. She heard Daryl's voice upon answering the call. "Why? Is there an emergency? Was he worried about me?" Yvonne bit her lips in happiness. "Everything's fine, I just wanted to know what you were doing." Everything was fine. Daryl was stunned upon hearing that. From the evening till now, 70 to 80 messages, it did not look like everything was fine. Daryl cracked a joke. "Sigh, please don't tell me you miss me." Yvonne's face turned red on the other end of the phone as she sounded rather awkward. "Why? Why would I miss you?" Daryl felt proud when he felt the awkwardness in Yvonne's voice. Suddenly, he remembered something important and said, "Oh yes, the Young family are antique experts. Do you have some ancient books about army weapons?" The blood-drinking sword upgraded for no reason today. Daryl could not figure out if this blood-drinking sword was a good weapon or just some scrap metal. Yvonne replied after thinking for a while. "There should be some in my father's study. Let me check it out for you." The sound of Yvonne walking down the stairs could be heard while they talked. Yvonne said shyly after 2 minutes, "Found one, do you want to come and get it now?" She sounded nervous and uncertain with her face flushed after saying that. Episode 132. Why did it feel like she was asking Daryl out on a date in the middle of the night? Daryl shook his hands and said, "No need, I'll get it from you tomorrow." Megan also walked out of the bathroom at that moment when he hung up his phone. Although she was dressed in a conservative set of pajamas, it could not hide that sexy body of hers. Her damp long hair resting on her shoulders and rosy cheeks after the hot bath made her look really attractive. Daryl could not stop staring at her as he finally understood the meaning of the word alluring. Megan felt the heat from Daryl's stare as she looked at him and asked, "You're still not asleep?" Daryl smiled. "I'm waiting for you to appraise my sword." He took out the blood-drinking sword as he spoke. Under the hall's dim lights, the blood-drinking sword was shining with an unusual bloodied-colored glow. There was a dragon image carved on the sword's body which made it look really grand. Megan could not stop herself from approaching it when she saw such a sword. As a team leader of the police force, as well as a member of the Ame clan, Megan was certain the sword was definitely not a red stage weapon, as the sword's length was 3 feet 2 inches and the red dragon carving on its body looked so real. It was definitely a good sword. Megan walked nearer and noticed Daryl's stare. He was staring all over her body. She felt shy and said, "I'm really tired now. Some other day then." Damn, this Daryl tried to lure me toward him while knowing I'm in my pajamas. How cheeky, thought Megan. She felt so shy, hence she went straight back into her room and locked the door. Daryl felt disappointed yet funny when he heard the sounds of Megan locking her door. Megan, as the team leader of criminal investigation, definitely maintained her alertness at crucial moments. Daryl yawned after grumbling to himself and closed his eyes as he laid down on the couch. Dong Hai City had not been peaceful as of late, with many incidents occurring. One of the most shocking news was the new opening of Great West Real Estate. No one knew who was the owner of Great West Real Estate. Everyone only knew that the company's president had close connections with Platinum Corporation. In addition, the real estate company also had close relations with Black Tiger Real Estate and Poja Eleganza Cosmetics. Everyone knew that Great West Real Estate would have great potentials just based on its business connections. It was the opening ceremony of Great West Real Estate. The mall entrance was decorated with lots of balloons and there were many expensive cars parked nearby. Almost every rich and famous person in Dong Hai City was invited to the opening ceremony. All of them wanted to find out more about such a big-scale new company. A new friend might bring new opportunities. This was the common belief in upper-class societies. All guests were dressed in suits and leather shoes, with some from rich and famous families while others were businessmen. There were even many media companies there too. The most attractive person in the opening ceremony would definitely be none other than the general manager, Jade. Jade was in a wine-red long dress, looking attractive, sexy, and elegant at the same time. There was no doubt many people were checking out Jade's sexy body, as she was not only beautiful but smart as well. She well managed the crowd and naturally answered all questions posed during the entire ceremony. Within an hour into the opening ceremony, Great West Real Estate had announced its acquisition of several prime lands in the Dong Hai City area for business development purposes. The total investment amounted to several billion bucks. All the media rushed to publish the news and the company became famous in the entire Dong Hai City. It was only a new setup, yet it could acquire so many pieces of prime land. That had never happened in the real estate industry of Dong Hai City before. As such, Great West Real Estate became a leader in the real estate industry of Dong Hai City just within half a day. At the same time, General Manager Jade instantly became famous. Reporters from the Dong Hai satellite television even had exclusive interview sessions with Jade. A lady that managed to acquire so many prime lands was definitely not a simple person. Everyone who had met Jade would have thought the same. However, no one knew that Daryl was actually the person behind the few prime lands acquisitions. Neither did anyone know that Daryl was also the owner of Great West Real Estate. Instead, everyone was trying to please Jade, whose name soon became so famous in Dong Hai City. Not only was Jade referred to as a goddess due to her beauty, but was also known as the Iron Lady of Dong Hai City. Many men had decided to pursue her due to this. Episode 133. Due to its seaside location, the weather at Dong Hai City was rather unusual. Hot in the day and cold at night. There was a place where a crowd would always gather regardless of the weather. Pearl Pavilion. That was right. There were stalls at the walkway with all of them selling antiques. There were many antique enthusiasts gathered there too, hoping to pick up some leftover pieces that might be worth a fortune. A few antique sellers were in heated negotiations with their customers. The sound of the car engine appeared as Daryl's car stopped. He took a glance at the surrounding sellers and made sure there was nothing worth buying before heading upstairs. Yvonne had long been waiting for his arrival at the Pearl Pavilion's upper level. Yvonne walked towards him in stilettos with a smile upon seeing Daryl's arrival. "Why are you suddenly interested in books about army weapons?" Yvonne was curious. In the antique industry, army weapons were not popular among them. What was Daryl researching about? Daryl smiled. "Nothing really, I just have a sudden interest in ancient army weaponry." Yvonne bit her lips and gently replied, "My father's words were a little harsh the other day. Please don't be offended." She blushed before finishing her sentence. The incident she was referring to earlier had 3 ladies being tied up with Daryl standing in front of them. It was hard not to be misunderstood. Daryl did not really mind. "That's fine, I don't really mind." He then added, "Mr. Young has ceased his misunderstanding by now, right?" Yvonne opened her mouth slightly and felt embarrassed when she recalled her father's words. Her father told her, "You can be with Daryl, but he needs to divorce Lily first and not be associated with any other woman." These words kept ringing in her ears as Yvonne's face was burning while her heart was racing. Did she really have feelings for Daryl now? Yvonne said softly while trying hard to control her emotion, "Not anymore. I've thoroughly explained to him." Daryl smiled and asked, "How did you explain to him?" I'll just tell him the truth." At that moment, Yvonne looked extremely attractive from being really nervous like a shy little girl. He had not expected a shy Yvonne could look so attractive. Daryl laughed. He wanted to tease more but stopped after seeing the others around. What was going on? What happened between Miss Young and Daryl? Why did Miss Young look so different today? The staff in charge of Pearl Pavilion, Peter, felt weird and wondered. Yvonne was usually very cold towards her staff and would not display any emotions. However, she looked so gentle and shy in front of Daryl. Would Yvonne be interested in that live-in son-in-law? "If there's nothing else, I'll make a move," Daryl said to Yvonne as he noticed the awkward atmosphere. Yvonne nodded. "All right." Daryl nodded and left the Pearl Pavilion. Daryl's cell phone rang when he reached his car. Noticing an unknown number, Daryl frowned and answered. "Brother Daryl, I'm Skylar." Skylar sounded really excited on the other side of the call. "Brother Daryl, my gang and I have gathered many bicolor flowers. How should I pass them to you?" Skylar asked politely and nervously at the same time. Oh, they were talking about the antidote refinement. Daryl nodded and asked Skylar to meet him at Platinum Corporation. Bicolor flowers were treasures that could be used to produce many types of medications and elixirs. All medications for general sickness and insomnia problems required bicolor flowers as a key ingredient. In the president's office, Daryl was smiling widely at his desk. "Great work, there were tens of bicolor flowers." Skylar was telling the truth earlier. "There's really a place that a lot of bicolor flowers grow," thought Daryl. Daryl commended with his work. Episode 134. After a few hours, Daryl wiped off his sweat and kept the tens of antidotes he had produced. "Brother Daryl, you're our lifesaver." Skylar felt really grateful as he held on to those antidotes with tears in his eyes. He brought out a jade pendant. "Brother Daryl, this belongs to the master of the Grandmaster Heaven cult. It represents the master's identity. I left in a hurry the other day and didn't manage to pass it to you. Please keep this properly. In the event there are misunderstandings with anyone from the Grandmaster Heaven cult, please show them the pendant and they'll know you're a Cully member." Daryl nodded, kept the jade pendant with him before giving Skylar a pat on his shoulder, and said, "Quickly, go and save your gang." Skylar nodded and immediately left. Once he left, Daryl went on to research the Infinite Elixir Manual. Now that he had the bicolor flowers, he wanted to know what other elixirs he could produce. In the evening, at Lyndon's residence, Lily and Jade were sitting on the couch. Both of them were in short skirts and enjoying their ice cream under the scorching hot weather. Lily softly said, "Jade, I really didn't expect you would suddenly become a real estate tycoon. Who did you meet? Who invested in your business?" Lily knew very well about Jade's situation. Although her family was quite well-to-do and had some connections with some important people in Donghai City, to incorporate such a large real estate company was rather unbelievable. Jade felt complicated as she smiled and replied, "I just met a friend." She dared not mention that Daryl was the one behind it. "Please introduce your friend to me if there's a chance in the future." Lily had not noticed Jade's reaction. Jade was embarrassed but still put on a smile. "Yes, sure." At that moment, Samantha walked over in her jeans. She looked as mature and sexy as Lily and Jade. "Jade, come and eat some fruits. You have a bright future now that you're the president of Great West Real Estate." Aunt Samantha, don't mention it. I'm just a worker. The owner is someone else, replied Jade humbly. Samantha proudly replied, it's the same, isn't it, just like Lily here. She's holding a managerial level in the Linden family's business, which also means she's making money for the family. Jade smiled and was about to reply when Daryl walked into the hall. After reading for a whole evening, his eyes felt dizzy. He was really happy to find out that the bicolor flower was indeed a treasure. It was the key ingredient for many elixir types. Lily was happy to see Daryl. Daryl, you're home. Daryl nodded and said before walking upstairs, Jade, you're here. You girls continue. Jade sighed in relief. Samantha was unhappy. What's wrong with him? He speaks in such a rude manner to Jade. He didn't even serve drinks, where are his manners? She had been treating Daryl slightly better ever since she received the necklace worth tens of millions, but she still had not changed her perception completely toward Daryl. Jade had such a bright future now, and Daryl did not even treat her as an important guest by serving her drinks. Aunt Samantha, no worries, no worries. I don't need a drink, said Jade quickly. Daryl serving her? That must be a joke. Back in the bedroom, Daryl took out the book about ancient army weapons that he borrowed from Yvonne. The book looked seasoned with its cover turned yellow and the large words, Ancient Army Weapon, printed on its cover. He opened the book and started searching for blood-drinking sword. The bedroom door opened before he could find the page. Samantha walked into the room, glared at Daryl, and said, Daryl, go get yourself some new clothes tomorrow. Stop wearing all those torn and old clothes. Lily's the president now. Don't embarrass her. Fine. Daryl nodded. Samantha was unhappy with his reaction and added, the Hoff family had organized an outing. Many other families will join the trip. Make sure you are appropriately dressed and don't embarrass Lily. This is my final warning. Hoff family. He could not stop but to recall Megan's fiancé, Kent Hoff. His family organized the outing. Samantha was impatient. Did you hear what I've just said? Look at what you're wearing. You're embarrassing Lily. Episode 135. It was just an outing. Why did he need to get new clothes? Can't I be excused from the outing? Daryl asked. Kent would definitely be there since the outing was organized by the Hoff family. Daryl did not want to meet him. Samantha stared at him. Honestly, I wouldn't have asked you along for such an upper-class social event, but Lily's the president now and Ash her husband, you ought to be there. Daryl nodded. Fine, I'll go get some new clothes. Samantha coldly said, that's more like it. Get some money from Lily if you don't have enough to get something good. Don't always dress cheaply and embarrass Lily. Daryl nodded again. Samantha finally left the room after nagging him a few more times. Once she left, Daryl quickly took out the Ancient Army Weapon book again. The book cover was full of scratches and its words were barely visible. Not only that, there were some brown stains that looked like blood on the cover. From the looks of it, the book would have been through a long period of time. The young family were really antique collectors for them to even keep such a book. Daryl started reading the book. The first page of the book listed a type of weapon called Thunderhammer. The hammer had the ability to summon thunder. It was a blue category level 4 weapon. Daryl could not stop reading. It had been a while he was so interested in reading. Universe Ring, created in the mountains. Unbreakable. Weapon grade, blue category level 5. Ability, Universe Traversal. Owner, Prince Neza. Daryl continued reading further. Green Dragon Crescent Blade, 9 feet long. Its sharpness could split rocks, mountains, and lands. Weapon grade, blue category level 3. Ability, Breaker of Mountains and Lands. Owner, War Saint Guan Yu. Daryl was so excited from reading about the weapons. He finally found the chapter on blood-drinking sword after searching further. Daryl's heart was racing while he read about it. Blood-drinking sword, a surface like jade but not made of jade, like steel but not made of steel. Extremely sharp. Could be activated by absorbing Earth's energy. Weapon grade, red category level 1. Ability, blood absorption. Self-upgrade upon absorption of only fresh human blood. Animal blood would not work. Daryl was so emotional after reading that. He had found a treasure. A sword that would upgrade. Once it absorbed a human's blood, it would self-upgrade. No wonder it was called blood-drinking sword. The book went on further to explain that once the sword recognized its owner, the sword could be kept in the owner's own blood when not in use. If the owner wished to use it, the owner would be able to call forth the sword with just his thoughts. Daryl took a deep breath with the blood-drinking sword in his hands. The blood-drinking sword vanished with just a thought. Daryl knew the sword had now vanished into his blood. "Sword, come here!" Daryl shouted. There was a flash of red lights before the blood-drinking sword reappeared. Wow! The sword was truly a treasure. Just when Daryl was excited, he could hear Samantha's grumbling voice downstairs. "Daryl, come here now." Daryl took another deep breath, put the book away, hid the sword, and went out of his bedroom. "What is it?" "Come and sit down," Samantha ordered. "This outing is very important. Dozens of families will be taking part: the Hoff family, the Young family, the White family, the Quinn family, us, the Linden family, and others. Few hundred people will be there. All of these are important and famous people. Don't embarrass yourself and don't embarrass Lilybud. Lilybud is now head of Linden family." The main objective of this outing was for families to gather and interact with each other and maintain good relationships. The upper-class society believes that an additional friend would bring an additional benefit. They might even agree on some business dealings during the trip in addition to making new friends. "Sure, I'll be careful when I speak," Daryl nodded. The Young family would be there. Yvonne as head of the family would definitely be there too. The image of Yvonne's shy but attractive face appeared in Daryl's mind. When he thought of the White family, Daryl could not stop himself from asking, during the time when Linden family lost all our money being cheated, didn't the White family's leader, Claude White, end business relations with our family? Why will they be joining the outing? Lily smiled. In the business world, there is no eternal enmity, only eternal profit. During my father's time when we lost all of our money, the White family had indeed ended our business relations, but they came knocking on our door again after we were back on our feet. Daryl grinned upon listening to Lily's words. Lily said, "We have to make many new friends during the outing. Please be careful when you speak. You just need to follow right behind me." Daryl laughed. "Sure, I'll follow you closely." Episode 136. Shame on you, don't you know people are calling you a live-in husband? Lily blushed, but she quickly apologized. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it." Daryl was not bothered by her words. "No worries, I don't care what others say about me. You're my wife, I only care about what you think of me." Lily smiled and dragged Daryl on a shopping trip. She wanted to buy him a suit. However, for their past 3 years of marriage, Daryl had gotten used to wearing cheap non-branded clothes. He felt very uncomfortable. In the end, after many negotiations, Daryl bought 2 sets of branded leisure clothing. Daryl was about to make payment at the cashier after fitting when Lily stopped him. "I've never gotten you anything for the past 3 years of our marriage. Let me pay for you. Didn't you just buy me plenty of clothes earlier?" Lily smiled. Daryl felt very warm by Lily's words. He did not reject further and allowed Lily to pay for the bill. The next morning, the Hoff family sent transports to pick up the family. The Hoff family was rather famous in Donghai City. They sent tens of business-class Mercedes. All of the cars were parked neatly by the road and gave a look of grandeur. Lily looked exceptionally beautiful with her blue tight jeans, white blouse, and stilettos. Her long legs looked very attractive, such that the driver could not stop looking at her as she got in the car. After a few hours, they arrived at their destination, Dragon Rising Lake. Dragon Rising Lake was also known as Gallery 20, was a private tourist spot that had very beautiful sceneries. As it was private property, it was not open to the public. In actual fact, it was not a lake, but the bay of a sea. Only the rich and famous could spend their vacation there while sitting at the beach and sunbathing under huge umbrellas. It was really relaxing. Once they arrived at the reception area, the other families sent their younger generations for the outing. The younger generations would be the ones taking over their family business in the future, hence it would be best to send them for the outing. Right when they arrived, they saw a group of people sitting at the hut, chatting and laughing. There were some familiar faces among them. William, Elsa formed the Linden family, and Zayler from the White family. They stopped to greet both Daryl and Lily when they saw them approaching. Few men could not stop but stare at Lily. She looked really beautiful, just like a goddess. It was true that Lily looked exceptionally attractive and elegant that day. Even though the Linden family was not a top-tier family, there were many beautiful ladies in the family. Both Elsa and Lily were beautiful in their own way. William gave a cold grin. Although Lily had a much higher status in the family now, he still felt that Daryl was a nobody other than a live-in son-in-law. The first sentence he spoke was full of sarcasm. "Daryl, you look good today. Which stall did you buy your clothes from?" He was the only one laughing after he said that. Although William knew Daryl had great fighting skills, he knew that Daryl would not fight at such a family gathering event, hence he went on to tease Daryl. "William, this is the live-in son-in-law you talked about earlier. That shouldn't be right. How would a live-in son-in-law be allowed to join this outing?" Everyone looked curiously at William. William gave a big laugh. "He's here because of his wife, Lily. He's a nobody." Everyone laughed hearing what William said. Daryl gave a cold laugh and ignored them. He had promised his wife that he would not cause a scene. Lily could not stand it anymore and said coldly, "William, all of us are here to have fun, what's the point of saying something so silly?" Elsa could not stand it either. She frowned and said, "William, stop talking. We're from the same family." William was not satisfied, but he walked away. At that moment, a young man in checkered suit approached with a smile. He reached out his hand to Lily. "Ms. Lily Linden, how are you? I'm Justin Quinn, the second son of the Quinn family. I've always admired Ms. Lily. It's my honor to meet you today." This young man was trying to impress Lily. Daryl, who was drinking, almost lost his cool upon hearing what he said. What a funny name. Justin Quinn. Who gave this guy his name? Episode 137. Why are you laughing? Justin was upset. He pointed at Daryl and shouted. He knew that Daryl was a live-in son-in-law. How could a goddess such as Lily be married to such useless men? Even though it might be a fake marriage, it was still unfair. Justin was jealous of Daryl and hence let it out on him. "If you dare to laugh again, I shall tear your mouth off." "What's so funny?" "It's nothing, your name sounds great," said Daryl. People surrounding him started to pronounce his name after listening to Daryl's words. Justin Quinn. That really sounded funny. Justin could not hold his anger anymore upon seeing people surrounding him start laughing. He was about to charge towards Daryl, but Lily stopped him. She said softly, "Mr. White, we're here for fun and games. You don't have to be angry." "Fine then, the dear goddess is right." Justin immediately held his temper, reached out his hand to Lily, and hoped to shake her hands. "My dear goddess, it's my honor to finally meet you. I've been an admirer for quite some time now." Daryl grinned. He almost made a scene when people were laughing about his name before immediately changed his expressions and tried to start a conversation with his wife. Lily gently shook his hand and immediately retreated behind Daryl while maintaining her elegance. She had done her part by gently shaking his hand. Although Justin sounded polite, his constant stare on her body made her feel really uncomfortable. Justin felt awkward when Lily pulled her hand back. Suddenly, his sight shifted towards the other side of the hall, and was attracted. Not only Justin, almost everyone looked over and was in awe. Not far away, there were shadows of two beautiful body figures coming out of the car. It was Megan and Yvonne. Both of them must have arrived at the same time, hence they were walking in together. They immediately became the outing's highlight. One the goddess of the police force while the other was the beautiful daughter of the young family. Megan was wearing a body-hugging dress which showed off her perfect S-body shape. Every man was staring at her body. On the other hand, Yvonne was dressed in a purple long dress, looking attractive and elegant. Both their appearances brought liveliness to the atmosphere. Yvonne was still single and had many admirers among the families. Before they were here, they had made plans on how to impress Yvonne during the trip. At that moment, Yvonne walked towards Daryl. "Both of you two are early," Yvonne said with a smile. She felt a little disappointed though, seeing Daryl standing closely right next to Lily. Megan arrived with her stilettos, smiled at Daryl, and said, "Dear little brother, you're here too." In upper-class society, such outings were an annual event. However, Daryl had never attended any of it. She had not expected him to be there this year. "Little brother. When I became a little broter," thought a smiling Daryl. Everyone looked awkward too. What was going on? When he became so close to Yvonne and Megan. Yvonne's admirers' eyes were full of jealousy. Even Kent's face looked horrible. He felt embarrassed having his fiancée being so close to Daryl. Kent said as he recalled the much earlier incident he had with Daryl, "Megan dear, there's nothing surprising about Daryl being here for the outing. He's here simply because he's relying on his wife's status. Do you think it's because of who he is?" His words were full of sarcasm. Ha ha. Everyone broke into laughter as Daryl once again became everyone's focus. "Kent, we're here to have fun. Don't behave like this." Megan could not help but comment. Just for Daryl rescuing the little girl from those robbers, he should have been honored. Just for his acts of shielding an unknown girl from a gunshot, he should have been respected. How could they laugh at him? "Megan, why are you siding him?" Kent was upset. Episode 138. Megan glared at him. Just don't want my mood spoilt. If you continue to behave like this, please leave me alone and go on the outing on your own." "All right, fine. I'll listen to you," replied Kent immediately with a smile. Despite him saying that his face was full of anger when he looked towards Daryl. "How dare a live-in son-in-law join our outing? I'll make you embarrass yourself," Kent thought. "Hello everyone, thank you for your patience." Edward Hoff stepped forwards and spoke into the microphone. Edward was Kent's father, the leader of the Hoff family, and also the outing's organizer. He walked toward the crowd, looked around, cleared his throat, and said, "Everyone here is the younger generation of your family. I believe all of you know about our outing's rules, so I'll not repeat them again. Just one thing I'd like to remind everyone, please take care of your own safety. Again, please take care of your own safety." Edward added, "We are now at Dragon Raising Lake. It's a bay, near the sea with plenty of fishes. We've prepared many fishing rods for all of you. Our dinner will depend on what you'll fish." Everyone broke into laughter after hearing Edward's words. Everyone there was from the upper-class society, hence fishing would not be a problem for them. The freshly caught fishes would certainly make for a delicious barbecue meal later. Everyone happily picked up their fishing rods and headed towards the seashore. Beautiful ladies laid down and were getting ready for a sunbath. Not forgetting one of the outing's aim was to make new friends, hence some of them were already exchanging name cards with red wine glasses at hand. Of course, there were some unique ones who would just not stop teasing about Daryl. People like William, Kent, and a few others. No matter where they went, they would find an excuse to ridicule Daryl. Daryl acted calmly as though not bothered by them, but was burning furiously deep in his heart. What was wrong with these people? Especially Kent, he was just as terrible as his name. If he knew more about Kent, he would not have promised Megan to save Kent at the Grandmaster Heaven cult. The crowd who had been fishing by the beach was getting tired. How many fishes do they need to serve a few hundred people? All those sons from rich families gave up not too long after fishing and headed to rest at the huts nearby. They would rather be hungry later. Looking around, the scenery was really beautiful as there was a small island not far away. The weather was scorching hot while the water was crystal clear. Many of the men had an urge to take a dip in the water. Someone soon suggested, "It's so hot here, why don't we go for a swim?" Everyone was interested in hearing that. At the same time, a few men started looking at Megan and the remaining ladies in excitement. They were going for a dip in the water with the goddess soon, how exciting. Lily, Megan, and the few other ladies were also drenched in sweats. They were also interested in hearing the suggestion but hesitated. They were ladies and with so many people watching them, it would be rather awkward. Most importantly, They did not bring along their swimsuits for the trip. Just at that moment, Kent laughed. It's not fun just swimming. Let's have a race. William was curious. What kind of race? Of course, it'll be a competition between families. Each family is to be represented by a pair of male and female, said Kent while pointing at the island in the middle of the lake. The first family who reaches the island will be the winner. Great. All of them were excited to listen to his idea. Zaylor stepped forward and added, we should have a bet since this is a race. Kent nodded. Of course there shall be bets. Let's lay down the rules clearly. Only the first place winner will get the reward. All the other losing families shall each pay the winner $1 billion. What? $1 billion? Did they have any concept on the value of $1 billion? Although that was the gathering activities for the rich, some of them could not afford $1 billion. It would not make sense to wager their entire fortune just for a bet. A few smaller families gave a sigh. They were interested to participate, but their financial positions would not allow them to. Kent laughed. He was planning in his heart to pressure the Linden family's participation. If the Linden family refused, he would use that opportunity to humiliate them in front of the masses. He learned swimming when he was little and was confident that he would win the race. If the Linden family were to participate, they would definitely lose both the race and $1 billion. Losing $1 billion would bring great losses to the Linden family. He would then let the Linden family appeal for an IOU, but Lily and Daryl would need to kneel and beg in front of him. Episode 139. $1 billion, how could William decide? Lily was the leader of the Linden family. Although the swimming competition was for entertainment, $1 billion bet was no joke. If the Linden family was to lose $1 billion, their family would be destroyed. William smiled but did not speak a word. Kent laughed. So, the Linden family isn't up to the bet. It's just a game, but the Linden family is scared. I thought only Daryl, the live-in son-in-law, is a coward. I didn't know the whole Linden family's the same. Even William is a coward. Ha ha. William was annoyed upon hearing that. Why wouldn't the Linden family take part? How could Kent look down on him? He was the Linden family's eldest grandson. William felt angry, but Lily was the family leader. He turned to Lily and pleaded, Lily, we should join and show our support since Kent extended his invitation. What do you think? Truth be told, everyone in the Linden family was jealous of Lily. How could a lady become their family's leader? If they lost the swimming competition, the Linden family would lose $1 billion with Lily being solely responsible for that. Lily and Daryl should be the ones representing the family in the competition, and if they lost, he would complain to his grandmother and get Lily to return all of her family business shares. William thought he had a great plan. Lily bit her lips after seeing everyone around her and said, fine, the Linden family shall participate. At this moment, she could not reject the invitation and needed to withhold the family's dignity. Kent gave a cold grin upon hearing Lily's agreement to join. In the end, the participating families were Hoff family, Linden family, White family, Quinn family, and Young family. Each family would send a male and female as the representative with a total of 10 participants. Honestly, Yvonne was completely uninterested in the competition, but her younger brother was really eager to join, hence she had no choice but to agree. The participants from the Young family would obviously be her and her younger brother and herself. The Hoff family's representative would be Kent and Megan. Megan was Kent's fiancée, therefore she could be considered as part of the family and there was no objection to her participation. The Linden family was represented by Lily and Daryl. As for the White family, it was represented by Zaylor and another lady from their family. Representatives from the Quinn family would be Justin and his cousin Charmaine. Everyone was excited when the list of participants was announced, as there would be many beautiful ladies taking part in the competition. Lily, Megan, and Yvonne were sexy and attractive in their own way. The chance to witness so many beautiful ladies swimming would be the best entertainment. Kent sent a message secretly from his cell phone without anyone noticing. Once the message was sent, a young man from the Hoff family quietly dived into the water not far away from the shores. Let me be the judge. All participants, please get ready, said Edward with a smile. At the same time, he gave Kent a thumbs up as moral support. If his son were to win the competition, he would win $4 billion. He was confident in his son's speed, knowing that Kent had started swimming training since little. His future daughter-in-law, Megan, was a police team leader and had excellent swimming skills. Both of them would definitely win the competition. On the other hand, Lily stood nervously beside Daryl. I can't swim very well. Daryl smiled and said, "Don't worry, I'm here." Lily had a sense of relief from seeing his confident face and smiled. Edward raised the microphone and said, "Let the race begin." Splash. The 10 of them dived into the water and swam towards the little island. "Come on. Faster. Come on." Everyone was so excited and started cheering for them. The competition was so exciting as it involved bets worth billions. "Lily, you can do it. So beautiful. They look so beautiful. The goddesses are so attractive." All the men's eyes on the shore were locked onto Yvonne, Lily, and Megan. As they had not brought along their swimsuit, they went in with their current clothes. Their clothes were entirely wet from entering the water, which fully displayed their sexy body. They had the perfect body figure. It was perfect. "Wow, look." Their attention turned to the male participants. Kent and Zaylor were showing off their swimming techniques, from breaststrokes to butterfly strokes. Everyone was amazed by their swimming skills. Daryl was the only one swimming the most traditional doggy-style stroke. It looked awkward but at a good speed. Daryl was the Darby family's second son. He would have also had professional swimming lessons just like the rest. However, he was never interested in swimming and spent his free time learning martial arts and researching antiques. Episode 140. Ever since he left his family, Daryl had been staying in the village for a while and learned swimming on his own, hence his strokes looked rather awkward. Haha, look at Lyndon's son-in-law. Is he swimming using doggy style? Oh, doggy style. That's ridiculous. Some of the girls started giggling. Lily angrily bit her lips from hearing laughter from the shores. When she turned to look at Daryl's swimming style, she felt it was hilarious too. It was obvious Daryl had never received any professional swimming training before, but he was so confident just now. Although he was not slow, his speed would definitely not be able to win the race. Other than the first-place winner, everyone would lose the bet. Could she still believe in him? It was $1 billion. If they were to lose, the Lyndon family would need to fork out $1 billion. What would happen then? Perhaps she would lose her position as the family leader too. Thinking along those lines, Lily became worried. She tried her best to pick up her speed. However, it was impossible for her to win. Suddenly, she heard some screaming. What's that? Oh my, shark! Is that a shark? Why is there a gray fin in the water? Shark! Shark! Come back! Swim back here! The 10 of them who were busy swimming stopped when they heard the commotion at the shores and looked around. They saw a black-colored fin at the water surface about tens of miles away from them, swimming towards them at a very fast speed. Shark! That was really a shark. Lily, Yvonne, and the rest of the ladies started screaming. Even the men were stunned looking at the scary fin in the water. Swim back to the shores. Megan was very nervous. Although she had taken the godly pill and became a level 1 Master General, she still would not be able to defeat a shark in the water. Everyone started to panic and swam towards the shore while ignoring the race. No one would want to lose their life over a $1 billion bet. The shark was approaching and it would soon reach the ladies. Some of them at the shores were worried and shut their eyes, not wanting to see what would happen next. There were only 2 people that remained calm, Daryl and Kent. From where Daryl was, he could clearly see the shark, which had shoulders and feet. It was obvious, it was a fake. Daryl did not understand why Kent was acting so calm. He almost peed in his pants when Kent was being captured by the Grandmaster Heaven cult. Something did not seem right since he was such a coward. Daryl gave it a thought. Could it be the shark was arranged by Kent? Soon, the shark reached the ladies. Yvonne, Lily, and Megan, the 3 goddesses, were petrified. Daryl, help us! Lily shouted without further thoughts. Daryl smiled knowing Kent had staged the shark just to have a chance to be the hero. He should allow Kent to be. Daryl did not swim forward knowing that. At that moment, Kent swam forward and said, "Don't all of you worry, let me handle it. Big shark, come to me." He then charged towards the shark. Wow. He's so brave. What a man. He's really fearless. The ladies at the shores started admiring Kent's bravery and clapping for him. All of them admire the men who fearlessly faced the shark. Lily was very disappointed. Why would Daryl ignore her at the life and death crucial moments, while the fiancé of others would jump into the danger?
For more episode, don't forget to subscribe.